As hello, everyone, and welcome to my New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 2019 edition of the G1 preview here. As obviously when it's summertime, you get the feeling it's G1 season is here, and it's fucking awesome. It's always a great time spending a summer watching the G1, and one of the best tournaments of all time, and as far as pro wrestling goes. And it's unbelievable. Every year feels like it gets better and better. It gets bigger and bigger every year, it seems like, as well. As it's no exception here. Some big debuts for the G1. We have Kenta, Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, Jon Moxley, Shingo Takagi of Kenta, of course, a huge name of pro wrestling Noah. From the junior heavyweight scene into more of the heavyweight scene, they went to WWE. Now he's here in New Japan, making a big splash as, Will Ospreay, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, being a part of the G1. That's insane what a schedule he's had as far as obviously with the Best Super Juniors just wrapping up this month here, just as far as, as we're recording this, June 30th, and now going into the next month with a whole nother tournament and a whole new tour. And what a grueling schedule. Jeff Cobb making his debut. As far as there's a lot of big names here, it's awesome to see Jeff Cobb getting his debut. He deserves it. He's the fucking man. I think the Japanese audience loves him. He just needed that shine and that kind of a big moment here. For him being in the G1, he's going to kill it. He's going to be awesome. Jon Moxley, Jon really, with his debut at not only the Best Super Juniors finals, but really his character as well, as far as him and Dominion too. He has been just quite the talking point of this past really month or so with not only the Jericho podcast, but what he's done really in New Japan and AEW. Here, in New Japan, the new look, the different style, him and Juice was a very fun match and was very different to what we've seen in New Japan as of late here. And I think him in the G1, before when he was announced as the guy to face Juice Robinson, I was kind of hoping maybe they push it back, him in the G1. But after the match, it was very much like, this man be perfect in the G1. His style is going to be awesome. He's going to be a very rough and tough, going to brawl, maybe use some weapons. I don't know how many times he's going to fucking bleed in this tournament. He's probably going to bleed a lot, if I'm going to be honest. Especially, we're talking about Jon Moxley just the previous night here as the Saturday night at the AEW show. Him and Joey Janela had their little death match, which was, really good. If you're into death matches, highly recommend. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, as talking about this. But enough about AEW. Enough about all those guys. As the last guy, Shingo Takagi, the Dragon, the man, the fucking man who has been the Iron Horse of New Japan as of late, and the Iron Man Will. He's been on pretty much every tour. Had a hell of a Best Super Juniors run. Beating the whole block. And coming up short, though, in the finals against Will Ospreay. But here, with him, this is going to be a huge tournament for him as well. He's been tremendous, as far as not only just this in New Japan, but really this past decade. Almost since, for about 10 years now, he's been incredible. Part of Dragon Gate, his stuff in Ring of Honor. And, of course, his stuff in Dragon Gate USA, and then back to All Japan and New Japan, and he's just been quite the past couple of years for Shingo Takagi, and he's fucking awesome. So this is awesome to see him in the G1. As going through the blocks here, blocks A and B, we have Kota Ibushi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kenta, Bad Luck Fale, Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada, Evil, Lance Archer, Sonata, and Zack Sabre Jr., for Block A. And then Block B, we have Shingo Takagi, Toru Yano, Tomohiro Ishii, Juice Robinson, Hiroki Goto, Jeff Cobb, Jon Moxley, Taichi, Tetsuya Naito, and Jay White. Some names that weren't on the G1 that I kind of was a little disappointed about. The biggest name, I think everybody's on their mind at least, and kind of spoke about this when the tournament of participants were released, was Minoru Suzuki. The thing, if he he is 51, Minoru Suzuki, God bless him. This is a hell of a tournament. But the one kind of saving grace, if it's kind of to be saved, if he's not in this G1, if in the finals, him and Jushin Liger have a match at Budokan. That would be fucking awesome. That would make up for him not being in the G1. If that is not the case, would be very sad, especially with Lance Archer being in it and not him. That does suck. Satoshi Kojima, I'm a big fan of guys' last G1s and it being promoted as that, and they have their kind of last tour. You see it in sports a lot now. Really the NBA, you're seeing it a lot, and kind of basketball too. But really, the G1 in the past, they've done it with either Tenzan and Yuji Nagata's was very emotional. That was fucking awesome to see. It's just awesome. It gives the kind of last guard their last day in the sun before they really kind of get out of the scene. It's kind of the last spotlight of really being in that spotlight. And it'd be nice to see Kojima have his, because really, him and Nagata, Kojima's last G1 was also Nagata's last G1, and really, that was promoted as his last G1, so he really got a lot of the spotlight, whereas Kojima's just like, yeah, it's Kojima, And, and Tenzan, too, Kojima gave up his spot to Tenzan to be in the G1, so that's another thing, where it's kind of Kojima's always kind of been, I don't want to say pushed aside, but it's kind of felt like that, as far as recently, so it'd be nice to see that, but I feel like now Geto's kind of getting away from that, which I think it is a mistake, but that's just me. It's getting bigger and bigger, and they're kind of focusing more on a lot of guys that are in the present and kind of less guys that are in the past, and kind of giving them their spotlight. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But, without further ado, we're going to go into the shows here as talking about every single fucking tournament match. We're going to be talking about it here as we're starting off with July 6th, 2019, Dallas, Texas, at the, I believe it's at the place, I don't know, I'm thinking about it, I think it's American Airlines Center. I could be wrong on that. I don't know why I think it's the American Airlines Center, but it might be where the Dallas Mavericks play. If not, it's somewhere else in Dallas, but no, it's in Dallas for sure. That's 1,000% sure on that. The arena, though, has escaped my mind, as, it being in America, I'm a little bit, I don't want to say nervous, but I'm interested to see how it plays out with the crowd and whatnot, especially with these matches that we see here as Sonata and Zack Sabre Jr. Not sure on how the order of these matches also going to be. They're kind of somewhat of the order I would expect. I don't think Sonata and Zack Sabre Jr. is going to open up as far as these tournament bracket matches, but you never know. They might. If it was me, I'd have Fale and Evil, and then Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., then probably Ospreay and Archer, Bushi, Kenta, and so on and so forth. But here, Sonata and Zack Sabre Jr., last year they had one of the best matches of the tournament last year. It's so different. Those guys, they don't really kill each other. A lot of chain wrestling, a lot of technical stuff, obviously with Zack Sabre Jr., but Sonata too. They've had great chemistry in the past as far as New Japan Cup matches and the G1 matches and so on and so forth. As far as who is going to win, I'm going to have Sonata get the win. It's more 50-50. Those guys, anybody could win. As far as, I'm going to give it to Sonata, though. Zack Sabre Jr., obviously, in the past, he's had some hell of a G1s. 2 years ago, in his debut, he beat Tanahashi this debut match of the G1, so that was pretty awesome. And he finished with 10 points. Last year, he finished with 12, so usually he's a guy who's finishing on a positive record and getting 10-plus points. You could see him beating Sonata here, but I went with Sonata. Evil and Bad Luck Fale. Years past, Fale has been a bit of the big monster heel who's protected in tournaments, really New Japan Cup and the G1. He'll get some big wins. That is more, as the years have passed, that role has diminished more and more and more. Really, his kind of the last time Fale was in a part of like a holy shit, Fale's back, is when he had a title match against Okada, and that was, obviously he didn't win. That was when Okada was at his big ass long reign until he lost to Omega. But here, him versus Evil, it just wouldn't make sense to have Fale. At this point, he's on the downstretch of that part of him and that character, and really doesn't need to win. Evil, it'd be nice to get him. Just it's an easy win for Evil. It just makes sense. There is Lance Archer versus Will Ospreay. Lance Archer, it being in his hometown, well, not really his hometown, really his home state of Texas. Really, I feel like that's the only reason why he's in this tournament is for this match, and for for him to be to get a win here at his home state against Will Ospreay. He avenges his loss from the New Japan Cup. It kind of also puts over the fact that Ospreay, you're in the big leagues now. You're in the heavyweight scene. You're not used to facing a bunch of juniors. Now you're taking on a bigger guy than Lance Archer. Lance gets a win. Sure, it's an upset, and Lance Archer, he's probably not gonna get a whole lot of wins. As far as like last year, nobody had fewer than 6 points. I think that's not going to happen this tournament. It feels like that was more of a anomaly, and I think there's going to be some guys that are going to finish with 4 points, maybe even 2. And then Lance Archer, before this video, and I was kind of doing some minor tweaks. Before I did those minor tweaks, he only had 2 points, and that was it here. But later on, he gets another win, in my opinion. I give him another win to give him 4 points. But he doesn't get a whole lot of wins, of course, Lance Archer. So you get him here, and that's a whole lot of losing afterwards for old Lance Archer, in my opinion. As the next match, Kota Ibushi versus Kenta. These two have had quite the interesting past. Many, many years ago, part of the Noah Junior Tag League. This was, I believe, 2007. They were in a junior tag match with them and Naomichi Marufuji and Taiji Ishimori, which those 4 names, even to this day, in 2019, in the landscape of wrestling, mean a pretty big deal. And for that time, 4 up-and-coming junior heavyweights together in the same match, it was incredible. It was one of the best junior tag matches of all time. If you've never seen that match, please go watch it. It's fucking incredible. And they had some sequences in the past in Ring of Honor as well. There was a moment, I remember Kota Ibushi tried to murder poor Kenta with a head kick, and if he would have hit him with it, it would have murdered him, but, Kenta got out of the way. And also, too, Kenta, these two, as far as striking goes, with Kota Ibushi and Kenta, everybody talks about Kota Ibushi's striking ability. His kickboxing, he's unbelievable. Kenta as well. Kenta's got some of the hardest fucking kicks in wrestling, and for a long time he did. And now he's kind of getting older, and I think the WWE run kind of hindered that name and kind of that killer instinct in Kenta. This is huge for him. This is the thing that kind of scares me the most about Kenta is, can he finish this tournament? He's going to get fucking injured. And if he makes it throughout this tournament without being injured, I think that's a success for him. But really, as far as where he wants to go, as far as where he's going to rank, as far as his G1, is he going to finish above with 10 points? I think so. I think the people of the Japanese pro wrestling fans over in Japan, they adore this man, even though he's not a New Japan guy, obviously. He was a Pro Wrestling Noah guy. Especially with him when he made his announcement and kind of the debut in New Japan at Dominion the same night of Mitsuo Amasawa's Memorial Show. That still sucks. I still think that was a terrible mistake by Kenta. He should not have done that on that day. They should have done like a press conference maybe like the week after. That'd have been nice. But I get it. There's a live show. They wanted to brought him out there. And Shibata, he waited forever too. Poor Shibata was pointing for like a minute and a half. But back to, ramble a little bit about Kenta. But back to him and Kota Ibushi. Him and his New Japan debut. It just makes sense for him to win. It'd be a little weird. You never really see it in pro wrestling where a guy makes his debut in a promotion and he loses his first night. Just weird. When you lose, like, I remember the last time somebody did that was, like, fucking Bastion Booger in, like, 1994 in WWF, so that kind of showed what he was incapable of in the future. So that was kind of just off the top of my mind. Just nobody really loses in their debut. It doesn't make any sense to debut somebody as a loser. So you just hear Kota Ibushi. Kenta gets the win, gets a successful New Japan debut, and we're off to the races for the tournament. And the main event, Kazuchika Okada versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. here in the United States for the first time for the G1, and here in the first time for these two, the most successful rivalry in as far as grossing, probably for New Japan, as far as one of the greatest rivalries in Japanese pro wrestling history. These two, every time they touch, it is perfection. Even now, even though it's kind of at the back burner of where they were in their careers, to where they first started getting going, back in 2012, 2013, 14, or whatnot. Here with them, obviously in the G1, these two are 0-0-3 when they face each other. They've never beaten each other. It takes them longer than 30 minutes to beat one another. That's kind of been established between these two. I have a feeling that that's going to get broken here, but in my opinion, that should not happen. I think the draw should happen again, and it should keep on going until Tanahashi's last G1 and he finally beats him. Now, that's quite the, long booking. That's, way in the future, because Tanahashi, he's probably got another, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 more of these G1s before he has to wrap it up. He might even go till he's 50. You never know. You never know. But with them, I think it's very special. Those two, what they have, obviously, it's very special. And to kind of, even though I get it, you're in America, and I think the American audience, while they respect the draw, if you see someone, if you're there in Dallas and you see somebody, if they do the draw, which I don't think is going to happen, but if they do, hypothetically, if they go with a draw and people shit on it, they are pieces of shit and they understand what they're seeing is some greatness and it's bigger than your moment to being in your show. I get it, you paid your ticket and you want to see somebody beat somebody, but it's not about you. It's bigger than this. It's bigger. It's not your product. It's not your place. It should happen over there if one of them's going to beat the other, and it should be very special. And I get it here, it being not in Japan, it kind of makes it special in itself. But, for Okada and Tanahashi, now I do think Tanahashi, if someone's going to win, I think Tanahashi's going to beat Okada, just to kind of be different, and it being in the U.S. specifically makes me think that, to kind of have Okada be like, well, I beat Jay White and had my big moment in America here. Now it's Tanahashi's big moment in America. He gets to beat Okada in a G1. And also down the line, past the G1, they get a IWGP Heavyweight title match in the future. Before Wrestle Kingdom. So there is that. But I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm sticking with the draw. I think that's the way it should be. But I don't think Ghetto's going to go that way. So there is that. As now we're going back to Japan we go. We go into, July 13th. We have the first day of Block B. And we have Juice Robinson versus Shingo Takagi. Shingo's debut and, as far as the G1 goes. So we have I have Juice winning here. The reason is I think Shingo, again, like Will Ospreay, kind of in the same vein, best Super Juniors tournament, now going into the G1, we need to show some fatigue here. Even though, the Kazuna Road Tour, he kind of wasn't really on, and Will Ospreay too, speaking of Will Ospreay, he had the Super Showdown in Melbourne, him and Robbie Eagles. Which, technically, if Robbie Eagles does beat him, he wouldn't be that WGP Junior Heavyweight Champion going into this tournament, but I think Ospreay's still going to win, but it's not entirely plausible. That's why, I waited so long for this G1 preview. I was going to do it a week ago, but with the Zack Sabre Jr. Yoshihashi match for Zack Sabre Jr. spot, you never know. I figured Zack Sabre Jr. was going to win, but you never know until it happens, so I didn't want to record this, because I know it's going to be a long-ass video. I think we're not, we're not even into, really, the second days of the tournament, now I'm 20 minutes in. So there is that. So, with Juice Robinson and Shingo, Juice could desperately use a win after losing his title and losing to Jon Moxley. Bouncing back into the tournament. Really him in the G1, not been a good G1 for him last year. He finished negative even though he was still the IWGP United States Champion. Feel like he needs he needs to get like 10 points, even 8 I'd be okay with, but he just doesn't need another shitty G1 for him. That would suck for him. And Tomohiro Ishii versus Jeff Cobb, what a match on paper. This is going to be fucking awesome. Jeff Cobb, Tomohiro Ishii, I really could go either way. Jeff Cobb could get a win, and that'd be, great for him. But Tomohiro Ishii, he's just a bigger name, giving him a win. And, last year he finished with 10, and last year the MVP of the G1. Again, he could have another incredible run. He always does. He's the fucking man. And especially with this block, too. We have Jeff Cobb, we got Shingo, we have Naito, Goto, Moxley, even Tai Chi. Tai Chi and Ishii had a great match. And even Yano, too. Yano and Ishii last year was a great match in their setting as well. And it was weird, I didn't say Jay White and Juice Robinson. That was kind of... him and Juice, they've had good matches in the past. Jay White and Ishii, they've had some interesting matches in the past. They never really had a G1 match like this. So I guess that's why I didn't say those two. But, with him, again, he's going to have an incredible run. And I hope he finishes with 10 points here. So really, this is really the difference between 8 and 10, really, this match with him and Jeff Cobb. You could really go either way. I'd be okay with it. But I'm just going to give Ishii the win. Predicting that Ishii gets the win. Toru Yano with Tetsuya Naito. Tetsuya Naito, the last time he was beaten by Yano was 2013, which Naito went on to win the G1. And he hasn't lost to him since he's joined, and really, well, not really joined, since he's formed Los Ingobernables de Japón. And really, Yano has beaten pretty much every top guy when he's at the top of his powers. He's beaten Hiroshi Tanahashi. He's beat, last year he beat fucking Kenny Omega when he was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He's beaten Kota Ibushi multiple times in the G1. I don't think, he's never beaten Ishii because they've only faced each other like once, maybe twice in the G1. He faced him last year, maybe sometime between 2012, 2013. The only really big names, he's not beaten is Kazuchika Okada and Shinsuke Nakamura. And both those guys, obviously Nakamura, since, obviously leaving in 2016, but Okada, they've only been in the same block like twice. So there's that. It's kind of there's just not been enough times they faced each other. But, it could happen with in this show, having Yano an upset win over Naito. It is kind of plausible, but I'm just going to go with Naito safely getting that. As Jay White versus Hiroki Goto. These two, they've had some good matches in the past. Jay White and Goto, this is something for Goto to get a win here. I'm giving Goto the win just because he needs it. Poor Goto. He's a guy where I kind of wish he'd go to like an All Japan or Noah, just somewhere fresh and new, and to kind of be a big fish in a small pond instead of a kind of medium-sized fish in a big pond. It'd be great to see him succeed in New Japan, but now I just don't think it's going to happen. Which, it's a damn shame for him, because I think he's going to be the guy that was always second fiddle. How many times did he, either be in the finals of the New Japan Cup, or, when he was in the finals of the G1 so many times, and he's been a former G1 winner. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going to double check that real quick, because I think he's won the New Japan Cup. I don't think he's ever won the G1 now I'm thinking about it. He did, 2008. 2008, he did. I know he won it one time. I remember thinking, but I didn't think it was like in the 2010s. It was 2008. And that was, of course, when there was like 7 people in the block, so it's a bit different than what it is now. But yeah, that's the thing with him, former G1 winner, as a former G1 winner, former New Japan Cup winner. He's a guy that could just desperately need this, and a guy that could desperately use a couple of big wins. So him and Jay White here, it's good for him. It's a good win for him, And, I think I finished him with like 6 points in this tournament, which is a bit of a, sucks for him. He's a guy who could be bigger and better in a different scenario. A couple of things would have went his way. He's a veteran now of New Japan. It's always sucks to see the veteran guys kind of taking steps down further and further down as far as G1 results and New Japan Cup results and so on and so forth. But, give and go to a win over Jay White. And Jay White, too, a guy last year was really the rise of Jay White. And really was his tournament, beating both Tanahashi and Okada in the same block. And basically back-to-back nights, too. So, for him, I got big plans for him in this G1, predicting-wise. So, whether Geto goes with that or he doesn't go with that, that's up to him. But I think with Jay White and Tetsuya Naito being the main event of the final night of Block B, I think he's going to have a very intriguing part of the G1. That's all I'm going to say. As Jon Moxley versus Tai Chi to main event this night. It really could be Jay White and Hiroki Goto if they really wanted to, but it just makes sense. Jon Moxley, Tai Chi main eventing. What a fun match on paper between those two. Obviously, with Moxley, with him being in the G1, everything's going to be fresh since he's a debut of not only New Japan, but of the G1. So pretty much all of these matches, besides the Juice Robinson rematch, which happens at the final night of Block B, it's all going to be fresh, so that's going to be awesome for him, and it's going to be awesome for the G1 as well, and awesome for Block B, because everything's going to feel like a fresh matchup. And with him being the U.S. champion, of course, we're going to see, whoever beats him is probably going to get a future title shot later on down the line. But also him with AEW is going to kind of be picking and choosing his nights. Kind of, I'm sure he's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. That kind of makes it, with those 2 nights. He might be even at both shows, but he's at least going to be at one. Defending, or maybe not even defending his United States Championship. Maybe he loses it before then. But it's a thing where you see John, I think he's going to have a quite the run, especially with, seeing as how the video with him and Shota Umino, where he announced the kind of G1 that was uploaded to YouTube, that has 3.5 million views. He's a name, he's a draw, even though he's the ex-WWE guy. He's still a draw, he's still a top gaijin, as far as he could really take Jay White's place as the top gaijin billing wise if they really wanted to. It's just with him and AEW, that's the only difference with between him and Jay White as far as their potential goes to replacing Jay White as the top gaijin. But him and Tai Chi is going to be a fun match, giving Jon Moxley a win. A bit of a no-brainer, but you never know with the G1. You could never overthink, especially with Geto, man. He'll throw some fucking upsets at you out of nowhere. As July 14th, we have also in the undercard spot, speaking of Jon Moxley and Shota Umino, they team up in the undercard, so that's some fun. You get to see how those two can team up with each other. As Lance Archer versus Bad Luck Fale, this is, without a doubt, going to be the worst match of the tournament. Not looking forward to this at all. It's going to be like pulling hairs watching this match. And pulling teeth. Not looking forward to this. Hopefully it's 3 minutes. And it's just, either way, no matter if it's Archer or Fale, it's really 50-50. I want Fale just because he's got a bigger name and bigger role as far as New Japan as a whole. There as Will Ospreay versus Sonata. What a match this is on fucking paper. This is something that intrigues me, man. This is Sonata and Will Ospreay. What a fun match that's really never been done. It's fresh. It's Sonata could really work the style of Ospreay and also can counteract Will Ospreay, grounding him, kind of using a Muda lock, doing submission holds, doing a Paradise lock, working a leg, working a body part. He could do that stuff to where really grounding Ospreay. But I think in the end, Ospreay overcomes him and gets the win, kind of going on the path of getting a big win for him after losing to Lance Archer the first night. As Kazuchika Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr. With Okada and Zack Sabre Jr., between Okada and Zack Sabre Jr. and Okada and Ospreay, one of those two Brits is going to beat Okada. My theory is at the Royal Quest show that's happening in the UK. They're going to have an IWGP Heavyweight title match, and it's either going to be based on whoever wins over Okada in the G1. Now, as you can see, I've Kazuchika Okada winning and beating him on this night. So here you have Okada and Zack Sabre Jr. You have someone's, in my opinion, it's going to be quite the 2019 for New Japan. They've had a IWGP Heavyweight title match in the US, and now they're going to have one, in my opinion, in the UK at Royal Quest. So that's something, in the future that you could see. Could either be Zack Sabre Jr. or Will Ospreay beating Okada. I'm going to go with Ospreay beating him, so I'm going to have Okada beat Zack Sabre Jr. But look out for that match. You could see Zack Sabre Jr. beating Okada. I think that's very plausible. As Kota Ibushi versus Evil, it's an interesting matchup. Ibushi and Evil, two kind of somewhat different styles. I think Ibushi's going to win, though. Evil, he's beaten some big names in the past, and G1's obviously Kazuchika Okada comes to mind. I just don't think it's going to happen here with Ibushi getting a win, especially Ibushi losing to Kenta the first night. Gets a win into the starting, now 1-1 going into that. As Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kenta, man, this is a fucking dream match come to life, especially for me. Everybody that was a Japanese pro wrestling fan in the mid-2000s, Kenta was the guy. Yeah, as far as, sure that, Kobashi and Masawa, but they were kind of going on the downcline into 2005, 2006, 2007. Really was the names of Naomichi Marufuji, Tanahashi, Nakamura, kind of the newer guys were starting to get more and more praise. Takeshi Sugiura, and, Shibata had just kind of left into, he was doing MMA, so his name was falling out, those names were really talked about. Suwama was starting to become the ace of all Japan, and, Kaiji Muto's run was starting to fall. Really was the names of the past were starting to fall, and Takeshi Morishima, those names. But here, Kenta and Tanahashi was a dream match for years. Never thought it would happen, but it's happening here. Sure, it's very different than what it would have been then, but it's still awesome to see. I think it's going to be fucking awesome, too. I'm giving Tanahashi the win, just to kind of, I don't think Kenta's going to start off 4-0, or not 4-0, he's going to start off with 4 points, being 2-0. Tanahashi getting a little win would be really impressive, but, too, if he does beat Okada, he'd be 4-0, or, again, I did it again. He would have 4 points, and he'd be 2-0 to start off the tournament, so that'd be huge for him. But Kenta Tanahashi, that's going to be really, really fun. Super excited to see that match. That's going to be awesome. As July 15th, we have Toru Yano versus Shingo Takagi, starting it off as Yano and Shingo. Interesting matchup on paper. Obviously, it's never been done singles-wise until now. And Yano, it's going to go like 5 minutes, maybe even less. It's going to be fun little comedy match. Shingo, though, I think is going to get the win. But you never know. Yano's going to either beat some huge names or kind of coast by beating some maybe lesser known names. Beating like a Taichi, Shingo, Juice, Goto, Cobb, kind of those guys, instead of beating like the Jay Whites, Naitos, Ishis, Moxleys, those names. So that's kind of where we're going to see with Yano. He's either one of the two things. And usually with Yano, he's the spoiler of the G1, and usually he's going to get the upset, so you'll see him beating the Naitos, the Whites, Ishis, Moxleys, rather than just kind of coasting by, getting like 6 or 8 points by beating kind of lesser, high-build names. As Juice Robinson versus Hiroki Goto, both guys could use a win, so really it's 50-50. I went with Juice. Juice starting off, though, with this, predictions-wise, 2-0. Maybe as I say that out loud, maybe that's not what we're going to go with. But, Goto, he could get the win if maybe he loses to White and then he beats him type of thing. As Jeff Cobb versus Jon Moxley. What an interesting match on paper. Jeff Cobb's going to throw this man around like it's fucking nothing. And it's going to be very interesting to see both guys making their debuts and against each other. I'm going to give it to Moxley, but you could see Jeff Cobb beating him with obviously a future U.S. title match in the future. And Jeff Cobb, really no stranger to championships in New Japan and being a never openweight champion. It could really use a U.S. title run if in the future that is a possibility. That would be huge for him. He definitely would deserve it. And with this, it'd be interesting, though. I think with John and Jeff Cobb, what they are going to do as far as really two vastly different styles. John Moxley's probably going to want to ground him, use some strikes and whatnot, but Jeff Cobb, he's bigger, he's stronger, so that wouldn't really work against Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb would really throw him around, do some suplexes and whatnot. So it's an interesting match on paper, but I do have Jon Moxley getting the win. Could see Jeff Cobb beating him, though. Very plausible. Tomohiro Ishii versus Jay White. What a fun match this is going to be. What an awesome match this is going to be. Jay White and Tomohiro Ishii. I think the crowd's going to be about it, and it's going to be a hell of a match on paper as well. Ishii and Jay White. As far as who's going to win, I went with Jay White. It could really go either way, 50-50 wise. I just went with Jay White since I had him losing the first night and kind of getting a win, being 1-1 afterwards. And it's going to be fun, though, either way. Tetsuya Naito versus Taichi. What a fucking match, of course. They've had history in the past. When Taichi just got out of the junior heavyweight scene, that was really his first feud with Tetsuya Naito. And they had some great matches. Here at the G1, they get a nice showcase, a main event. And getting Taichi the upset win over Tetsuya Naito, getting a future Intercontinental Championship. That's really the big main point there, is just the future title shot. And also, it'd kind of be awesome to see Taichi get a win over Naito. It'd just be really fun. And, Taichi, God bless him, getting a big win. It's not entirely, it's plausible. That's the thing with G1. Everything's pretty much plausible when it comes to championships and beating champions. But as far as, Naito losing to someone, this makes sense. Taichi, a guy like him and Jay White, Moxley, Ishii, even Goto, I'd say Shingo, and even, Taichi adding to that list. Even maybe Jeff Cobb too, but I think Jeff Cobb is just not ready yet. Yano, it's a thing. It's still plausible, but I wouldn't put it as likely. Just highly unlikely. And what a fun match that's going to be. Taichi and Tetsuya Naito versus Yano. But Tetsuya Naito and Taichi, awesome main event. It's going to be kick-ass. Good on Taichi getting a win. If he does get the win, that'd be huge. As July 18th. As the July 18th is going to be, the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th is all going to be at Coronation Hall. So, of course, the crowd's going to be just fucking fever pitch. It's going to be awesome atmosphere. And those guys are going to want to kill each other out there for it. And it's going to be awesome. As far as what night's going to be the best between these three? Man, it's tough. Each show is jam-packed with some awesome matches. Obviously, seeing as you guys can see the main event now, that's a hell of a main event, but there's some very, very good main events on this show, on these three shows here. And, Kenta, Lance Archer, having Lance Archer win, just as far as Lance Archer beating Kenta, it really came down to he's bigger, stronger, it plausible, in a kayfabe sense, it makes sense from a perspective. And also, it's an upset win, too. Whereas Archer beats him, kind of, it's the opener, too. So, kind of, no one would it kind of breeze by people. Like, wow, Lance Archer beat Kenta. It wouldn't be, like, a huge moment. It just kind of be like a wow, a type of feeling for him. But Lance Archer beating Kenta, it's an upset. Probably isn't going to happen, but I'm going to predict it. Evil and Sonata, wow, before this video, I had it at a draw just because I didn't know who to pick between. It's like picking between my two children. It's unique that these two are fighting in the G1. They've done it before, and that's why I decided to pick a winner. It was the 2017 G1, the G1 Climax 27. Sonata beat him. So that's why I'm going to have Evil beat Sonata here, predicting-wise. It being in Coronation Hall, that's going to be a lot of fun. The crowd's going to be about it. I think it's going to be a split crowd, though, so that's going to be a lot of fun to see the crowd really picking a side, who they're going to cheer for. They're going to cheer for Evil, they're going to cheer for Sonata. That's really going to determine who might be the bigger star post the tag run. So there's a lot of interesting match. Evil and Sonata there. It's Kazuchika Okada versus Bad Luck Fale. It sucks the Coronation Hall's going to get to see that match for Kazuchika Okada, but they get to make up for it on the 20th. That's for sure. Okada getting a win. Easy. Yeah, easy win for Okada. Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Again, having Zack Sabre Jr. beating Tanahashi. Fun, it'd be a fun win for Zack Sabre Jr. to beat Tanahashi again in the G1. These two, they've had the history. They have history. Zack Sabre Jr. getting a big win. And, wow, there could be a plausible scenario where either Zack Sabre Jr. is going to beat either Okada and Tanahashi in the same block. So that is very plausible. That could happen. So at least, predicting a Tanahashi Zack Sabre Jr. win there. As the main event and rematch from Wrestle Kingdom, Kota Ibushi, Will Ospreay. What a match. Of course, Ospreay beat him at Wrestle Kingdom. So here we're going to have Ibushi predicting Ibushi wins and beating Will Ospreay. What an awesome match this is going to be, especially with that Coronation Hall crowd. I think it's going to be a different style than what Wrestle Kingdom was. Wrestle Kingdom, it was about the Never Openweight title, and there was a lot of strikes with the combination, the incredible athleticism. I think here, in my opinion, it should just be in a fucking athletic contest of the likes of which have never been seen in this type of G1 scenario and setting. It's going to be incredible. I think, and now they can do the striking, and that's the thing. Ibushi, obviously a very talented striker. Ospreay, he does a lot of strikes, maybe not as impressive as Ibushi is as far as legitimacy, but as far as a pro wrestling sense, he can throw some pretty cool kicks, and yes, that swift blade, the fucking elbow to the back of the head type of thing. But I'm with Ibushi getting the win. That crowd's going to be jam-packed. I think they want to see Ibushi win, too. That's a huge win for Ibushi, main eventing the show and getting a win. Good for him. As Shingo Takagi versus Tai Chi, as we're going to go to the 19th here. As, what a fun match on paper. Crowd's going to be into it. Tai Chi and Shingo. I'm going to give it to Shingo. Just Shingo getting a nice win. So that's awesome for him. Juice Robinson versus Jeff Cobb. Giving Jeff Cobb the win. Really, this is 50-50 as well. Jeff Cobb, he needs a win. This is his first win of the tournament, in my predicting wise. So he just needs a win at that point. Jay White versus Toru Yano. We could see Toru Yano beat Jay White. Very plausible. Again, I feel like I've said that about every Toru Yano match so far I've talked about here. But it just, you never know. You never know with Toru Yano. As him beating Jay White. It could very well happen, but I'm predicting Jay White. Tetsuya Naito versus Hiroki Goto. What a fun match on paper. These two, they've had some fun matches in the past, and Goto, when it's G1 time, he's had some great matches in the past. Whether it be Goto and Kenny Omega and Goto and Ishii from last G1. That was some great matches. I think that can happen here with either him and Naito, and then going into him and Ishii. And also, him and Naito last year was fun. It was a very, very good match. It's just kind of with all of what happened in last year's G1, sometimes those matches kind of get overlooked. But it was a good match. And I think it's going to happen here with another good match. And Tetsuya Naito getting the win. Yeah, having him lose to Tai Chi, the night previous for the Block B. Didn't want to have him lose again to Goto, but you could very well see either he's going to beat Tai Chi and lose to Goto, or he's going to lose to Tai Chi and beat Goto. That's how I see it. As Tomohiro Ishii versus Jon Moxley. What a main event for Coronation Hall. What a match on paper. This is going to be kick ass. And I'm going to give it to Tomohiro Ishii. You could have a U.S. title match in the future, later, past this G1 match. But this is going to be fucking awesome. Cannot wait to see it. Ishii getting a win over Jon Moxley. As, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff for this match. This is going to be an awesome show, too. The co-main and the main. That's going to kick ass. And also Toru Yano, too, if he upsets Jay White. And that, a Yano match is always fun. especially with Korakuen Hall. As the last show of Korakuen Hall, July 20th, we have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Balak Fale. The two polar opposites as far as characteristics go. And the last time those two faced each other in the same block, Zack Sabre Jr. beat him, and I think it's going to happen the same thing here. But you never know. You could see Fale getting a win and beating Zack Sabre Jr. I feel like Zack Sabre Jr. is going to get a lot of wins. He's going to have 10 to 12. So gets a win there. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Lance Archer. Obviously, Tanahashi is going to win. If Lance Archer beats him at Korakuen Hall, there's going to be a lot of... The damn Korakuen Hall is going to burn to the ground. It's not going to end well for Korakuen Hall. That is for sure. There's going to be a riot. Kenta versus Evil. Really, this is 50-50. Could go either way. Giving Evil the win, though, that's pretty crazy. Looking at you look to the left here, the points total up to that point. He'd have 6 points. He tied with Ibushi as far as the lead for the fucking Block A. That kind of makes no sense. But also, I did have the draw, so really you could have Tanahashi with 8 points at that point. So he'd technically be in the lead if Tanahashi does beat Okada. So that's kind of looking at from that standpoint. But it's either Kenta's gonna have 4 and Evil's gonna have 4, 6 and 2. You could really go either way. Also, too, Kenta could really use a win at Korakuen. I don't know. And now I'm thinking about it. Really, Kenta feels like he's gonna win. I might just alive switch this. I'll keep it with Evil, but I don't know. I'm starting to think Kenta's gonna win. Yeah, that's a bit of a question mark. I feel like I'm in the wrong here with predicting Evil. We'll have to come back and see when that happens, July 20th. See if I'm wrong there. Kota Ibushi versus Sonata. As Sonata and Kota Ibushi, what a fun match that is on paper. Those two are going to kill it, especially with Korakuen Hall. Giving Kota Ibushi the win. You could see Sonata getting a win over Ibushi. As far as, Ibushi's going to lose at some point here. I think he's lost to Kenta and that's it so far in this tournament. But, that seems about right. That seems plausible. As, then the main event, wow. Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay. And, the Royal Quest thing. I'm giving it to Will Ospreay. It just seems like a bigger moment. It's in Korakuen Hall. That fucking place is going to go berserk seeing a champion versus champion match. And, that's not even the only champion versus champion match. It's going to happen on Block B2 with Naito and Moxley. That's crazy. That's crazy to think of a G1 where that's happened. This doesn't really happen too often as far as something like a heavyweight champion versus junior heavyweight champion, and the junior heavyweight champion wins. That's just the beauty of the G1. I think that solidifies what the G1's all about. Getting an upset win for the junior heavyweight champion, jumping into the heavyweight scene, and beating the heavyweight champion. And that's awesome. That is some awesome shit there. As the 24th, we have Block B, Juice Robinson versus Toru Yano. Juice Robinson getting the win. I actually think Juice is going to win. Yano, he can only have so many upsets. So there's eventually some guys who are just going to have to beat him. And that's just one where Juice beats him. Hiroki Goto versus Taichi. They've had some interesting matches in the past. They've had, never open weight title matches in the past. Where really Taichi won due to a lot of just overbooked interference. That's not going to happen here. In my opinion, I think maybe very minimal. I don't even think Miyohabe is going to get involved or any of the Suzuki Gun guys are going to get involved. It's just going to be between those two and Goto getting the win there, really, mainly. As John Moxley versus Shingo Takagi. The two debuts facing each other in the G1. Shingo and John Moxley here. Sure, you could have Shingo winning against John Moxley, but I think Shingo's got another big win up his sleeve where you have him lose to John Moxley, but there's somebody else he could beat that's even more significant here than just kind of this show and this tour. We're having him and John Moxley there. John Moxley gets the win. Jay White versus Jeff Cobb. You could have Jeff Cobb beat Jay White. That'd be an awesome win for him, but I don't think Jeff Cobb, he's not there yet. As far as the scene of what the New Japan offense thinks of Jeff Cobb compared to what I think of what Jeff Cobb is capable of, Jay White could get the win, and it just would be very simple, very easy for him. Whereas, in my opinion, it could be a little bit more of a back and forth, more of an upset feel where Jeff Cobb could beat him, but then at the end, Jay White hits the Blade Runner and beats him. Tomohiro Ishii versus Tetsuya Naito. What a main event, of course. Going to be awesome. Ishii and Naito, they've had incredible matches in the past, and they've had really, no strangers to each other. Ishii and Naito, giving it to Naito. You sure you could have Ishii beat him, but just at the same time, Naito and Jay White, those two winning here, kind of solidifies that they're gonna be in the big picture as far as winning the whole block for Block B with those two. So that's why them getting the win here over Jeff Cobb and Tomohiro Ishii really sums it up there. Kota Ibushi versus Lance Archer there for July 27th, as just makes sense. Bushi beating Lance Archer there. Will Ospreay versus Bad Luck Fale. Here's a win, another one for Will Ospreay, where he runs into a bigger guy. Bad Luck Fale, he's got to get a win at some point. And besides also Lance Archer. So here, gets a win over Will Ospreay. Kind of brings him down to reality for Will Ospreay. The previous night, he beats Kazuchika Okada. Now, fast forwarding to Bad Luck Fale, he loses. So there's just the beauty of the G1 there. Evil versus Zack Sabre Jr. We have, 50-50 really wise. It could go either way. Giving it to Evil, again, he's got 8 points now. I'm really kind of nervous about this, because sure, if Tanahashi beats Sonata, then he'd have 9. But it's still, I don't know, that's a lot of points for Evil. I'm very, very nervous about that, about how many fucking wins Evil's got. Great as Zack Sabre Jr. There as Hirsch Tanahashi versus Sonata. Those two, to me, are always going to be in sync with each other. And I'm always looking for those two. I've said it in the past on this channel, and I'll say it again here. Sonata is alt timeline Tanahashi. If there's like different dimensions of like comic books and stuff like that, where it's just like Earth 2 Tanahashi is like what Sonata looks like. You ever see Tanahashi in his earlier days in New Japan? He kind of looks like Sonata, wearing black. He has crazy hair. He is somewhat of what Sonata is now, and Sonata's changed his look now throughout the 2019 though. His kind of doesn't look as much as what he did in the past with kind of the mohawk and shit. He's changed his look up a little bit. But, Tanahashi getting the win. Wouldn't be too surprised Sonata gets an upset win over Tanahashi, but I'm going to give it to Tanahashi there. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenta, what a match. Again, dream matchup come to life that you never knew. And obviously when Okada's rise to really fame of New Japan, Kenta was kind of not really, he hadn't left yet. I believe he left in 2014, I want to say. So he was still like a couple of years in Noah. So it was still kind of like, man, Okada and Kenta, that'd be pretty cool if they ever do, especially if Kenta would have stayed when they did Noah New Japan again in 2016. They had their little feud. That would have been something where that could have happened. Instead of Nakajima and Marufuji, we could have Marufuji and Kenta in the G1. You never know. You never know. So we could have saw it there. But it's going to be an awesome match. Okada gets the win, though. Would be pretty crazy to see Kenta get a win. And also, too, man, it's almost the end of July. Kenta's got 2 fucking points. And I think the only time he won was his debut. So again, a little question here. It's kind of crazy at the bottom of the Block A is Kenta and Sonata with 2 points up to that point. So that's kind of weird. But, it's all going to even itself out here. We still got the month of August to go with. It's going to be okay. It's hopefully here. As July 28th here, as we have Block B, the last July show of Block B. Hiroki Goto and Toru Yano, again, Yano's got to lose at some point. And Yano again, winless so far in July. But this is one where it could happen. With a lesser named guy. He loses to Juice Robinson, but he comes back and beats Hiroki Goto here. So, but I think Goto's going to get, he needs some wins, at this point. He's got 6 right now. And I don't think he gets any more wins for me as far as predictions-wise. So we'll have to see how that goes if he finishes with that. As, Goto beating Yano. Juice Robinson, Tomohiro Ishii. Just think Ishii's the bigger name. Giving it to Juice Robinson would kind of be weird. giving it to Ishii just makes more sense. Jeff Cobb, Taichi, they've had, history in the past. Jeff Cobb could definitely need the win and could use the win, but we're giving it to Taichi. Shingo Takagi, Jay White. Jay White, again, I think he's going to do very well in this tournament, and he gets the win over Shingo. He's got 8 points here. Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley, champion versus champion. What a main event. And I'm giving it to Naito. Naito, I think he's the bigger champion as far as pedigree-wise, and the bigger name as far as New Japan-wise. And, Moxley's got to lose at some point in the G1. And his losses, I think, are pretty far and few between. So him against Naito, Naito's a bigger name, gives him a win. And Naito and Jay White tied with 8 points at this point going into August. So that's interesting, as far as the leading of Block B. As then we're going to go to the 30th, the last of July, and the last of Block A for July. Kota Ibushi versus Bad Luck Fale. Again, Ibushi, bigger name, bigger deal there, getting the win. Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, the Brits going at it. Not a whole lot of times you see two British stars facing off against each other in G1, so that's cool. And two completely different styles, too. Ospreay, the aerial assassin, and Zack Sabre Jr., the technical wizard. That is, nicknames aside, that is legitimately what they are, And Zack, I think, lowering him down, keeping him grounded, and getting a submission win, it just makes sense in the long haul for him. And that's a fun match, too, to look forward to. Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Okada, Lance Archer, again, easy match. Okada gets the win. It just makes no sense if Archer wins. Kenta Sonata, all caps, the cap match, as, a different timeline, and way back when. There might have been a Kenta and LIJ, is all I'm saying. In a far, far away world, there might have been. As Kenta and Sonata, Kenta gets the win. He needs a win. At this point, both guys had 2 points. He gets a win there over Sonata. As Tanahashi and Evil, Tanahashi gets the win. Again, at this point, it could either be he's got 12 points and Ibushi has 10, or they actually do the draw, and Ibushi still leads with 10. Evil with 8 is really the runner-up, as the third-place guy with Okada and Tanahashi with 9, if the draw does happen. As then we're going to go to August 1st. We have Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi. What a match that is on paper. That's going to be fucking so much fun. It's going to be an awesome match to see. I think Jeff Cobb's going to win. He needs a win at this point. He had 2 points going into the show. Gets 4 here. Jon Moxley versus Yano. Major upset alert here for Toru Yano, Jon Moxley. Especially with, if he loses to Naito, could very well plausibly be he loses again here to Toru Yano, back-to-back like that, and gets an upset win. Still kind of feeling the effects of the Naito match. Yano rolls him up, gets a crazy win over Moxley. That'd be a lot of fun, but I'm going to give it to Moxley getting the win. That's a bit of a cop-out prediction. I really do think Yano's going to win, but I don't have the guts to say it. Don't have the guts to predict it. That's all I'm saying there. As Juice Robinson versus Tetsuya Naito, they had a great match last year in the G1, and they've had some good chemistry in the past. I think they have another great match here. Kind of weird that's in the middle of the pack, so that's kind of discourages me. But I think it's still going to be an awesome match. Gonna give it to Naito again. He's the bigger name. Just makes sense. Taichi, Jay White. Fun match on paper, Taichi, Jay White. I think those two can have, two heels going at it. That's going to be a fun match. Gonna give it to Jay White again. He's just a bigger name. I feel like he's going to be a focal point at the end of the G1, so getting him a win there. Hiroki Goto versus Tomohiro Ishii. They had an absolute banger of a match last year in the G1. I think they're going to have another absolute banger of a match here. Those styles are going to beat the shit out of each other. It's going to go like 15 minutes. It's going to be awesome. And have Ishii getting the win there. I believe Ishii beat him. No, I didn't. Off the top of my head, I was talking about that match. Let me, real quick. I believe Goto lost to Ishii last year. But let me just double check that. As, let's see here. As, yep, Ishii did beat him. So, again, he beats him. So, you could very well see Kota Ibushi, or not Kota Ibushi, seeing Tomohiro Ishii losing to Hiroki Goto here. You could very well see it. It would make sense. I'm just going to go with Ishii there, giving him 8 points on the tournament at this point. As then we're going to go to August 3rd and 4th, as the 3rd and 4th is going to be in Osaka, which, of course, that's going to be very big implications for the Block B show with Tetsuya Naito's match. As we have Kenta Bad Luck Fale. You know, it's weird. I had Kenta lose to Lance Archer, but I'm going to have him beat Bad Luck Fale here. I feel like that's going to be flipped. I feel like he's going to lose. He's going to beat Archer, but he's going to lose to Fale. But here I'm predicting the opposite. We'll go with, Kenta. The thing is, it's like, he's not going to hit him with the GTS. He's going to hit him with the Basaiku knee. He's going to hit him with like 3 Basaiku knees, take him down, chop the big man down with that type of scenario there. But it'd be an awesome finish. What an awesome finish that'd be if he goes for the Basaiku knee and fucking Fale hits the grenade on him like mid-air. Like sidesteps it, fucking grenades him. And that's the finish. That's an awesome finish. Don't think it's going to happen, though. But Zack Sabre Jr., Lance Archer, again, Zack Sabre Jr. beats him. He's just the bigger name, bigger deal. Moving on. Will Ospreay, Evil. I'm going to give it to Ospreay. Him losing kind of recently, giving him a win. Again, Evil's just won too much at this point. He's got 8 points already. Now he's lost the past 2 August matches he's had. It just makes sense from that point. And Tanahashi versus Ibushi. Of course, the finals from last year here. It's weird. That's not the main event. That probably should be the main event. But here, we're going to have Ibushi avenge his loss from the G1 finals last year and beating Tanahashi. And really submitting his, the reign of him being of top of Block A there. Because if he does lose, then it'd definitely be Tanahashi has the lead and could kind of be no way at that point kind of lose that lead. So here, this is a really big turning point for Tanahashi and Ibushi, because if, also too, Okada Sonata, as you can see here, Okada upsetting Sonata, but if, let's just say, if Tanahashi did beat, Ibushi here, and Okada beats Sonata, then Ibushi is now fallen to like 3rd. So that's a huge turning point in the tournament here on August 3rd in Osaka. Just Tanahashi losing to Ibushi. And then the main event, Okada, Sonata. Okada's going to lose at some point. Why not be Sonata? Let's give it to Sonata. Give him a huge win in Osaka. And also, too, those two they've had in the past. Sonata's had matches against Okada, but he's never beaten him, it feels like. He's had 2 IWGP Heavyweight title matches. He's had also New Japan Cup matches where he's never beat him. Here he beats him. Gives him credibility immediately. He's like, holy shit, he beat Okada. And also, too, it's kind of weird. The LIJ guys, both Evil and Sonata, have now, if that happens, if Sonata does beat Okada, would have both beaten Okada in the G1. So that's pretty cool. Gives LIJ some credibility, too, in the long run. As for August 4th, the last night in Osaka, we have Tomohiro Ishii versus Toru Yano. Toru Yano getting the win. How about it? We're going to have Yano beating Ishii here, predicting wise. Ishii beat him last year, so here he avenges his loss. It's kind of the, it being Osaka and Ishii, kind of the grueling schedule has kind of taken its toll at this point, and he loses to Yano, gets a roll-up win over Ishii. That's going to be a fun match, though. They have great chemistry, so that's going to be awesome. Juice Robinson versus Chi. Could go 50-50 here. I'm going to go with Tai Chi getting the win over Juice Robinson. Jeff Cobb, Hiroki Goto. Fun match on paper. Those two have had history in the past, of course, throughout here in the U.S. and in Japan, as far as, the never openweight scene. And it's going to be an awesome match. I'm going to give it to Jeff Cobb, though, getting the win. Again, this could go either way. Jeff Cobb now with 6 points. So he's got to get in some wins here in August. So that's nice for him. That's where I'm kind of slow start for him, but now he's getting his groove, he's getting the G1 down pat, he's figuring it out, and he's getting some wins. Jon Moxley versus Jay White, the two Gaijins facing each other, really too similar, as far as, there's always the memes when there was, a lot of memes were taking place when this was going on. This was announced that Jon Moxley, Jay White's going to take place, and then obviously those two in the same block. This is very interesting. Very interesting to see. This is kind of to solidify who's the top guy in at this point. This match could very well do that for him. And also, too, Jay White beating Jon Moxley gets a future IWGP United States Championship title match down the line, so it makes sense there. Jon Moxley, Jay White, going to be a fun match. Look forward to that. And Tetsuya Naito versus Shingo Takagi. Man, it's in Osaka. You know the crowd's going to be behind Shingo Takagi. Let's make a fucking star, Ghetto. Giving Shingo Takagi the win. What a huge win that would be. That'd be fucking awesome. And sure, you have the Intercontinental title match down the line where just Naito beats him. But that's fucking awesome, too. That's a huge moment. That's a huge G1 win. That's just going to be awesome. This night here, August 4th, really has the potential to be the best night of the tournament. Besides really the Juice Bombs and Taichi match, which is still going to be a very good match in my opinion, every match is going to be very significant. You have Ishii Yano, that's going to be fun. Juice Bombs and Taichi is probably going to be the worst match of the 5, but then you have Hiroki Goto and Jeff Cobb. They're going to beat the shit out of each other. Jon Moxley, Jay White, it's going to solidify who's the top guy in. They're going to brawl all over the arena. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe even some color. You never know. Naito Shingo is going to be awesome. With the atmosphere of Osaka, with Naito losing, getting an upset win for Shingo, that's going to be an awesome night. If that's how it plays out, that could be the match of the, that could be the tournament, not the tournament, that's going to be the show of the tournament, I think. That's going to be a lot of fun. As August 7th, we have, and also too at this point, speaking of August 4th, with Jay White winning and Naito losing, Jay White now takes the lead of Block B with 12, Naito with 10, Moxley and Ishii have 8 at that point, so that's going to be, looking forward into the finals here as we're going more and more. As August 7th, we have Block A, we have Sonata versus Lance Archer, Sonata getting the win. You could see Lance Archer against any of Evil or Sonata. It's the LIJ Suzuki Gun. It's KES versus Evil and Sonata. At some point, it makes sense that one of those two guys are going to lose to each other. Whether it be Sonata losing to Lance Archer or Evil losing to Lance Archer. It just makes sense. I don't even think I have that. Yeah, I'm looking for it, and that's not the case. That's kind of interesting how that is. I'm just thinking that makes sense from that standpoint, and I predicted that not happening. Again, I feel like I'm contradicting myself the more I'm looking, I'm looking at my results. I'm like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense, Max. What are you doing? But here we are. As Tanahashi versus Balak Fale. Tanahashi wins, really no surprise. Ospreay Kenta, fun match on paper. Giving Kenta the win, because let's say Ospreay is still the junior heavyweight champion. They could do, realistically speaking, Kenta Ospreay for the junior heavyweight title match. They could do that. I mean, Kenta's definitely a junior. It makes sense, you know. They could do that. As far as a Destruction Show main event, Kenta Ospreay for the junior heavyweight title. Could be a lot of fun. Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Two guys no strangers to each other. Zack Sabre Jr., when he won the New Japan Cup, that was his first match, was against no, it was against Naito. I'm sorry, it was against Naito. Then he beat Ibushi. Which those two, they'll always be synonymous with what could have been the CWC finals in WWE. And now, you know what? I feel like now he's beaten them more times. Maybe they're tied. I don't know why I don't have their history against each other, their win-loss record against each other in my notes here. But I feel like if Ibushi beats Zack Sabre Jr. here, Ibushi will have the nod to having more wins over Zack Sabre Jr. But I could be wrong. They could be, like, tied. But so I'll have to look into that after this video. Now I'm gonna be curious. I feel like that's gonna be an awesome match, though. Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. Those have good matches. And it's Kazuchika Okada versus Evil. August 7th. It's funny that Okada and Evil has always been the main event on August 5th, but now there's not really a show on August 5th. So as I just had to scroll up, yeah, there's August 4th was a Block B show. So yeah, so there's not an August 5th show. So here on August 7th, we're gonna have Okada and Evil. They're 1-1 in the G1 now, and Okada's gonna beat them to make it now 2-1 for Okada. As August 8th, we're gonna go into Block B, and we have Toru Yano versus Tai Chi. Toru Yano gets the win. Here we go. Yano's now got 4 points. Right now, he's getting some wins. Good for Yano. Jeff Cobb versus Tetsuya Naito. Naito getting the win. That's just Naito being the bigger name, bigger star. Hiroki Goto versus Jon Moxley. You could see Goto getting the win, but with Jon Moxley being the U.S. champion, kind of doesn't really make any sense. So I give Jon the win. Juice Robinson versus Jay White. Juice Robinson getting the win. Again, these two, no strangers to each other. U.S. title history and whatnot. And really, those two were kind of part of the dojo, kind of roughly around the same time. You know, them and Dave Finlay Jr., they were kind of in that same group as far as those gaijins at that time. Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi, giving Ishii the win. Listen, Shingo, you had your moment in the sun. You beat fucking Tetsuya Naito. Now you're getting back to reality and you lose to Tomohiro Ishii there. That's going to be a fun night, though. There's really a lot of easy wins. Well, not really easy, but kind of the more bigger names getting the wins. As you know, we're almost to the finals of the last days of the tournament for A and B. But, that's kind of more of just the guys getting easier wins before it's the last day of the tournament for them. As we have the last day of Block A, August 10th. Here, as obviously the last 3 shows, the 10th, the 11th, and the finals, which I think is going to be the 12th. Might be the 13th. Is all going to be in Budokan, of course. That's going to be awesome, of course. Budokan. Very, very legendary venue, and it's awesome that New Japan's been running there, and it's awesome. So awesome. As Sonata versus Balak Fale, Sonata getting the win, just him being the bigger name. Sonata finishing with 8 points, that seems about right. 8, that seems fair. Evil versus Lance Archer, Evil getting the win. You could see Lance getting the win and beating Evil to make it have 6, but I feel like him and Bad Luck Fale getting 4. Again, I talked about with Archer. Before this video, I had him only winning against Will Ospreay the fucking first night in Dallas. Then not losing again, and then not winning again, but I had him beat somebody else. I had him beating Kenta. Which now that I think about it, that don't really like that. I think he's just going to finish with 2. So, and that's probably what it should be. At least 2 to 4. There's no way Archer should get like 6 or 8. As Kenta versus Zack Sabre Jr., what a fun match that's going to be. I'm very looking forward to seeing that. I believe that happened in Noah, because Zack Sabre Jr. wrestled in Noah for a good bit of time there, as far as really the junior heavyweight scene. I feel like that happened. But I could be wrong. I think Kenta might have left when Zack Sabre Jr. was in Noah. Could be wrong. But I felt like I saw that match happen before. That's going to be a lot of fun. Ospreay versus Tanahashi. Wow. Having Will Ospreay beat Tanahashi. That's some shit. That's crazy. Ospreay is going to join Jay White in beating Tanahashi and Okada in the same block, I guess. That's crazy. But Ospreay getting the win as... he finishes with 8 points. That seems pretty low. But he beats Tanahashi and Okada, so that makes up for it. That's huge, though. Will Ospreay versus Tanahashi, beating Tanahashi there. Because if he does, let's say Tanahashi does beat Okada, he'd finish with 12 points there instead of finishing with 11, so that makes sense from that perspective. Then Kota Ibushi versus Kazuchika Okada. Okada beats Ibushi, but here's the weird thing about how I booked this fucking block, is it doesn't matter, because Ibushi would have 14 points still, even with losing. Had Tanahashi won, he would have had 14 points, or 13. So really, it comes down to Ospreay getting the upset win, beating Tanahashi. Setting up for now, it doesn't really matter, because even though Okada lost to Tanahashi. So that's the thing. If Okada does beat Tanahashi in Dallas, then this sets up for, wow, this determines who's the Block A winner between Ibushi and Okada. So then there's that. But I have Okada beating Ibushi. 14 points for Ibushi, 13 for Okada, 11 for Tanahashi, 10 for Kenta and Evil, 8 for Ibushi, or for Ospreay, Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., and 4 for Fale Archer. It's kind of weird how that finishes with kind of really the main event not really mattering, but it makes that co-main event matter even more. So that's kind of my reasoning there. That's a fun night though, as upset for Ospreay, Kenta, Zack Sabre Jr., Okada, Ibushi. That's going to be really awesome. So that's there is that they've had matches in the past, Ibushi and Okada, as far as Tiger Mask W and Okada, so it's going to be very different from that match there. As August 11th, the last tournament block match, show rather, as we have Juice Robinson versus Jon Moxley. Juice getting his win back from Jon Moxley. There's that. That's going to be fun. Tomohiro Ishii versus Taichi. Taichi beating Ishii. That's going to be that's an awesome match, too. Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi, they had that awesome match in the past where Ishii beat Taichi for the Never Openweight title match. And that's another thing, too, with Ishii, talking about him is his championship, the championship for him, so it matters where who loses to him is probably, or who he loses to in the future is going to get a title match down the line. So there's that, as Jeff Cobb versus Toru Yano, as Jeff Cobb getting the win over Toru Yano, giving him a win. As Hiroki Goto versus Shingo Takagi. What a fun match that's going to be. I'm really looking forward to seeing Hiroki Goto and Shingo Takagi. That's going to be awesome. Giving Shingo Takagi the win. You could see Goto getting the win, finishing with 8 for him, but giving it to Shingo, giving him the 8 points. As Tetsuya Naito versus Jay White, up to this point, going into August 11th, we'll see here. We had Tetsuya Naito and Jay White finishing with 12 points, finishing August 8th, going into the final night. And we had Jon Moxley and Tomohiro Ishii with 10. So here with, basically, Ishii was pretty much like, you're not going to win. Jon Moxley too, it's kind of like, well, you're not going to win. Because it comes down to the main event. It comes down to Tetsuya Naito versus Jay White. Whoever wins this match is winning Block B. I'm giving it to Jay White. I know a lot the Naito fans are just like, what are you doing? God damn it, we're gonna get Ibushi Naito again. Naito doesn't need it. Naito doesn't need to be the runner-up. Or even, here's the thing though, with Naito, as I say this, it's very different this G1 to past G1s, because now Wrestle Kingdom's gonna be 2 days. It's gonna be the, so now you could, you could have a champion in Tetsuya Naito, the Intercontinental Champion, win the G1. He could defend this belt the first night and face the champion the second night. Face the IWGP Heavyweight Champion the second night. That could happen. And that'd be pretty awesome, too. Naito, he could have the first night, he could either drop the belt or win the belt still, successfully defend his Intercontinental Championship, or drop the belt before that night happens. Obviously with, at the Destruction show, and just worry about facing Okada. But also, too, that's the thing with Naito. If Naito does win, and he also has his Intercontinental Championship, he also has his briefcase to defend. That's a lot of shit to throw on his plate. Where it's Ibushi and Jay White, that's a fresh matchup. Jay White, he had the hell of a G1 last year, and what do you know it, he pulls off a win, and he beats Naito, and he wins Block B. Crazy stuff, and now that kind of solidifies him. Another Gaijin in the G1 the first time, in the finals rather, since, when Omega won it. And obviously I don't think Jay White's going to win it, because then we go into who's going to face who. We have Kota Ibushi versus Jay White, the Block A winner versus Block B winner at the finals. And I'm going to give it to Kota Ibushi. I think it's time. It's time, man. As a Ibushi fan, I've seen him as a freelancer, and I feel like New Japan never really gave him the winning he deserves. Really, his big accolade for New Japan was winning the New Japan Cup, and he lost to AJ Styles when he had his title shot after winning the New Japan Cup, and Omega cost him the match there. As here, Ibushi Jay White, it's going to be interesting, because I think it's going to be a very pro-Ibushi crowd, obviously. Especially with Jay White, too. It's going to be very old school. It's going to be two guys. It's not going to be like Tanahashi and Ibushi, where it's like, we love both these guys. It's going to be an awesome match. It's going to be very different than really the G1s in the past, if this is how it goes. Because it's going to be very much a pro-Ibushi crowd. They're going to be behind him. They're going to be behind the babyface. They're going to want him to win. Not going to want Jay White to win. They're not going to want to see Jay White and Okada. They're going to want to see Kota Ibushi and Okada. They want to see Ibushi win. They're going to want that because Ibushi is such a beloved fan favorite in New Japan. Even though he was a freelancer, really he was mostly in DDT, and he was a junior into the heavyweight scene. And his return and him signing that full-time commitment to New Japan this year, I think this solidifies this is the time to give Ibushi a moment, to give him a big G1 Climax win, avenging his finals loss and going to the Tokyo Dome to face the heavyweight champion. Now, who knows, though? That's the thing being a Kota Ibushi fan. You never really know with Kota Ibushi. They might just fuck him over, have him win the G1, and have him lose the briefcase, be the first guy to lose the briefcase, and not go on to Wrestle Kingdom to face whoever the champion may be. That could very well happen, because let's just take a scroll back to memory lane here. Let's see, he's going to face Okada, which I don't think Okada's going to face him for the briefcase. That'd kind of be weird, unless Okada would drop the heavyweight title, and then that's why they have their briefcase match. Let's see, so he beats Tanahashi, he beats, obviously, Fale, beats Archer, he beats Sonata, and he beats Ospreay. See, I think he just loses to Kenta, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so now that doesn't really, yeah, he's definitely not going to lose to Kenta. He's not going to lose the briefcase. So there you go. He's not going to lose the briefcase. So there's that. It's all well and dandy. He gets the win, and he's not going to lose the briefcase. He's not going to lose it to Kenta. But they'll have a match for the briefcase with, him and Kenta. So that's going to be fun. But in the runner-ups being Okada Naito, that's pretty, that's interesting. The heavyweight champion is the runner-up for Block A. And the IWGP Intercontinental Champion is the runner-up for Block B. Now, sure, I felt like, with that Naito Ibushi Intercontinental Championship match at Dominion, it was very much like whoever loses this match is winning the G1. Naito won, Ibushi lost. So here we are. We get Ibushi in the G1. I think the story would have been better if Naito would have won, and Naito being the G1 champion. It's just that he's won the G1 so many times now. He would have won it a third time if he had won it here. Let's give it to Ibushi. It's his first one. It's special. It's awesome. He's the fucking man. He deserves it. And it'd be a hell of a match too. Ibushi and Okada in the and Wrestle Kingdom. That's gonna be fucking crazy in the Tokyo Dome. But that will do it for my New Japan G1 29 preview. My God, it's been an hour and almost 30 minutes. I have talked about every single block match of the G1, and here we are wrapping it up. I hope you guys are excited for the G1 as I am. I cannot wait. As hopefully I remind myself to post a copy of this spreadsheet if you guys want to use it. I'll erase all my answers so you guys can use it in the future for your G1. So you can keep track of who's winning and who's losing throughout the tournament, and see how well your predictions fail and how field against what Ghetto booked and whatnot, and how you did as far as predictions wise. Hopefully I remember to do that. If not, please somebody comment and I will post it if you guys want it. Yeah, it's it. If you don't want it, you're just like, Max, I don't fucking need your spreadsheet. Fuck off. Then alright, I'll keep it to myself. But that will do it for my preview of the G1 Climax, as I will catch you guys for my review of the first night of the G1. How about that? I mean, this is why I do this big-ass G1 like this, because I don't have to preview and review before every show. I'm just reviewing it as I go after the show. So there's that. We get the full block matches analysis of every fucking match. So take